We did a little bit of this in our homework from the other night, but we're going to focus a little bit more on using, when we can be using adding operations with integers, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing integers. All right, so let's dive right in. Today is 9/11. All right, we are going to be taking a look at mean, median, and mode. So basically what we're talking about is using operations with integers. Yes? I may be bring it up. Okay. The big thing that I want you to understand is, and I say this about every single thing that I teach you, what I do in my notes is what I'm expecting in your homework. How many of you guys heard what I said? Danny, did you hear what I said? What did I say? Fantastic. Okay? Because I know that somebody is not going to do what I tell you in the notes when it comes to me. You're just going to do it your own way. All right? So I just want you to understand, there's a reason, there's always a reason for why I do things. And it's not just to be strict. I want you guys, when you leave here from me in 8th grade, you are going to, your brains will be trained to think systematically, not randomly, to think systematically on how to break things down very systematically. So when you come up to really hard problems, you've already trained your brain to go through something systematically, all right, and set up equations, all right, and not just randomly do math. Okay, you may not use, I set up there you can use a calculator. You can use a calculator, you know what, you may not use a calculator for this. All right, Amanda, will you do me a favor and erase that? So you may not use a calculator for this. Thank you very much, sweetheart. Okay. All right, so these are called central tendencies. So central tendencies are your mean, your median, your mode. Let's talk about what they are. What is mean? What is mean? If someone said to you, explain to me what mean is. And again, it doesn't have to be like a perfect out of the dictionary, you know, definition. What is your understanding of mean? Amanda? All right, so we talk about average. If someone said to you, yeah, but I don't even know what average means. What does that mean? I do agree with you, average and mean are the same thing. But explain further what that means, Amanda. Or how you find it. Put your hands down, she's talking. If you're not sure, you're like, can someone else help me? Do you want someone to help you? No? Okay. Excellent. This is the sum. Sum means add. The sum of all the data. Nice job. Divided by how many data items you have. Nice job. All right. So I totally agree with you. When I think average, I think mean. When I think mean, I think average. We use the word average much more often than we use the word mean. Okay? All right. How about median? I always get median and mode kind of mixed up. And I'll tell you, if you're someone that mixes them up as well, I'll tell you one way that you can kind of remember it. What does median mean? What does median mean? Alex? Excellent. Excellent. Perfect. This is when after putting all the data in order of least to greatest. You could do greatest to least, but typically we do least to greatest. It's just kind of what we do in math. But greatest to least would work. After putting all the data in order of least to greatest, the median is the middle number. Is it always going to just be one number? Is it always just going to be one number? Cameron?
Yes.
How many of you guys agree it's always going to be one number? Raise your hands high. Okay. If you don't think it's going to be one number, why don't you think it's always going to be one number? Matthew?
Because if it's an even amount of data, then you take two middle numbers and you
Yeah, so in the end it'll end up being, like in the end it will end up being one number, but the problem is when we have two middle numbers, okay? So we've got to kind of remember that. So it's going to be the middle number, but let's kind of make sure that we understand what that means. So when we have an odd number of data, all right, it is the middle number. But as Matthew said, when we have an even number of data, it is the average or the mean of the two middle numbers. All right, so median does have a little bit of math that goes with it if I have an even amount of data. How about mode? How about mode? Ava?
the mode is what happens the most out of all the data.
Excellent. Mode, most. That's kind of how I remember the difference between median and mode. Honestly, like I have to, because you don't do it all the time. So when you don't do it all the time, you have to be like, how do I remember the difference between them? All right, so mode is the most often. That's kind of how I remember. All right, so mode is the data. I'm going to put value or values because there can be more than one that appears the most often. There are three possibilities. There are three possibilities. So let me ask you guys a question. Is it possible to have no mode? Is it possible to have no mode? And you can't just say yes or no, you have to tell me why. Is it possible to have no mode? Addie?
Yes.
Yeah, it could. So we could have, we could have some that don't repeat at all, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we could have a list that's 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7. And they all appear exactly the same amount of time. AJ? Well, so if they all appear exactly the same amount of time, then there would be no mode. If we have like 1 and then 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, then my mode would be 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So they have to, if there's any one or any numbers that appear more than others, the ones that appear the most, that's your mode. All right, so let's look at the different possibilities. That's a great question. All right, so the first one is we have one mode. All right, that's when only one number appears the most. And it's not that it repeats only. It has to repeat the most. So if I have 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5 repeated the most. It's not that the others didn't repeat. 5 repeated the most. Okay? All right. Then we have, so this would be something like, for example, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, and then 4. What would be our mode here? Patrick? 3 is the mode. 2 is the mode. Thank you, Patrick. I'm totally believing you. Because my mind's on to the next example. I assumed he got it right. So 2 is the mode. Thank you. All right. The other possibility is more than 1. Who needs to see what's up there? Keep going. Oh, yeah.
Will they always be lined up least to greatest?
No.
Okay.
They will not always be lined up least to greatest, which is why, and I'm going to talk about a strategy to kind of figure out how to see them. There's a strategy that I'm going to have you use when you're finding mean, median, mode that will help you see them better. Okay? Okay. So let's talk about when we have more than one mode. All right? So the second possibility is 2 or more modes. This is when 2 or more data numbers appear more than the rest and the same number of times. So 2 or more that appear more than the rest and they appear the same number of times. So somebody give me a list of numbers. I don't care what the numbers are. Give me a list of numbers. And they don't have to be consecutive numbers. They can be any numbers where we might have this situation. Colin?
1, 3, 2, 2, 1.
Excellent. All right. So Colin gave us ones that are not in order, which is all good. I don't care if they're in order or not. So someone tell me, what are my modes, or what is my mode here? Sarah? Yep. My mode is going to be 1 and 2. I'm just going to list them with a comma between them. All right. The last option is no mode. No mode, as I explained to you guys, all right, no mode is when there's 2 options for this. This is when no data items repeat, or when they all repeat the same amount of times. So an example might be like 25, 36, 48, 51. That's one example. Someone give me an example of that second one, of the second possibility. Valentina? Excellent. Yep. They're all repeating, but they're all repeating exactly the same number of times. This, for either one of these, we would say no mode. That's how I would answer that. I would simply say no mode. You guys cool? Okay. So let's go ahead and do a problem. All right, we're going to start first with our mean, and then we're going to jump to the rest of them, okay? All right, I do require that you set a mean equation up. Okay, that's the first thing that I do require. You're not just doing random math off to the side and then random addition and then random division. You're going to set your equation up. Okay, so let's do an example. I'm going to give myself some more room, and I'm just going to flip. All right, so let me show you this example. This is example number 1 from page 39, if you're someone that likes to go back to that. Okay. I want you guys to write down this information. This is a story problem. So you need to write down some of the description of what they're talking about here, and you need these values. Don't just write the values down, because someone needs to know what you're talking about in the story problem. So go ahead and write that information down, and then we're going to talk about how you're going to find this. So I wrote down, and I want to find the mean. Now chances are they may also be asking you to find mode. So when I teach this to you, it's with that in mind. And median, all right, it's with that in mind. So here is my givens. Here are my givens. So I've kind of written down what the numbers stand for. All right, the minimum temperatures in Big Delta, Alaska, January to December. And I've written the values down. I've written down what I'm looking to find. All right. Mean equals. This is the equation that I require. I'm doing it starting it way off to the left because I have a lot of numbers I'm adding. All right, one of the things I do is when I write my mean equation, I put them in order of least to greatest in the mean equation. That way, if I have to go back and find median, I don't have to rewrite the list again. Does that make sense to you guys? So take the time when you're writing a mean, if you're looking for median as well, take the time to put them in order of least to greatest in your mean equation. And you have to show me that you're adding. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. So my smallest number is negative 11. So I have a negative 11 plus. And I'm going to kind of cross them off as I go so I make sure I get them all. Please make sure you have a plus symbol in your mean equation. Commas are not operations. You need a plus symbol. So negative 11 plus negative 9 plus negative 6. And I'm just going to keep going. Don't forget 0 is a value. You are going to need to put that in there. If I'm finding median and mode, why is it important for me to put 0 in there? For mean, it really isn't. But why for median or mode is it important? Molly? Exactly. It's an actual data value, right? It's a temperature. So it's one of our data items. So I do need to include it in there when I'm finding median. Now I recognize, hang on a second please. I recognize that we're not finding median here, but I want to set you guys up for good habits. Okay? Alex? Oh, it affects mean because of the number of data items. Thank you. That's another reason you have to have it. So thank you for pointing that out. Because we still have 0 as a data item. So we've got to make sure we keep it in there, okay? Thank you for correcting me. Once I've written them all down, what do I do next? What do I do next? So I've written them all down. What else do I have to do for mean? Sarah? No. I'm not going to start adding yet. What do I need to do? Because I'm not done with my equation. Cameron? I need to find out how many numbers there are. Why? All right, so I have to show that I'm dividing all of these. So I'm going to count how many I started with, and I'm going to make sure that's how many I have in my equation. I have 12. How many of you guys have 12? Now you're going to start adding. Now here's my tip for you. Add all your negatives together, then add all your positives together, and then you have one absolute value to do when you're adding a positive and a negative. You guys with me? I don't care how you add these. You can just do them off to the side, adding them. That's fine with me. But I want you to get back to a positive plus a negative number, and you're going to continue your equation down. Okay? I'm going to do this while you're doing this. I did something wrong. Nope, I didn't. I don't think I did. All right, so I got, when I added all my positives, I got 304 when I added all my positives. Did you guys get 304 when you added your positive numbers together? No, did I do something wrong? What did you guys get for adding your positive numbers together? What did you get? How many of you guys got 257? All right, we'll go with 257. I know I did something wrong. Okay, so now that I have this, now what do I do? If you notice, I did all my adding, but I came back and I still have my equation to go. I'm not done with my equation. I have a positive plus a negative. Now what do I do? Come on, what do I do now? I'm adding a positive and negative. Danny, I need you being willing to answer some questions here. What do I do? My absolute value. So absolute value of negative 26 is 26. Absolute value of 257 is 257. Danny, what do I do with those absolute values now that I have found them? Excellent. So 1, 3, 2, 231 over 12. Can you guys see that I'm not doing anything randomly? I have my equation that I wrote, and I'm slowly solving it down my page. All right, now we have to do our division. So I'm going to do 231 divided by 12. What I want you to do is I want your answer rounded 1 decimal place smaller than the data items. That's my rule. Do you guys understand? So these are all out to the ones. I want your answer to the tenths. Do you guys understand? So 1 decimal place lower when you're doing your division, okay? So put your hand up. So I end up getting 19.25, but what am I going to write as my answer if I want it 1 decimal place? So we're going to have our answer 1 decimal place lower than data items. So what am I going to say is my final answer to this? Cullen? 19.3. And this is going to be in, they don't tell us what, in degrees Fahrenheit. So degrees Fahrenheit. Questions? Why? I do have a 2 right there. I'm rounding to my tenths place. So remember, you have to use your rounding rules. It's not just dropping off that number after it. Anything 4 or below, you leave it. Anything 5 and above, you raise it up. AJ. Yes. If one of them is going to be 20.2, the rest of them are going to be like 20.0, 19.3. They're not going to round all of them in your data and not just one of them. You know what I mean? Okay. All right, so this is what I want to see for your work in finding mean. Yes, Valentina. Ada.
So when it says that to enter the decimal place lower than the data item, so that means that since we have put the highest number of items.
Okay, so that means that all of these go to the ones place, correct? So our answer is going to be to the tenths place. It's 1 decimal place lower than what all the data items are. Does that make sense? Awesome. Thank you for asking. All right, let's do another one. All right, I want you guys to find, who remembers what range is? Who remembers what range is? It's not one of the central tendencies, but it is something that is involved with central tendencies. What is range? Patrick? Put your hands down.
How far
How far apart they are. So it's the difference. You spell right. Between the smallest and largest data items. All right, so what I want you to do is, I'm going to give you a set of numbers, and I want you to, find the mean, median, and mode, and range. So I want you to find mean, median, mode, and range. All right, so let's do -6. And these are my values. So please use that first, the one that we did, as your guide for finding mean. You're setting up your mean equation. Commas are not operations. You have to actually put addition signs between them. And I want to see that equation being set up. This is not my mean. I don't know what that is. Where's your mean equation? Where's the entire mean equation? You guys, I'm looking at a lot of what you're doing. And there's a lot of you not setting up a mean equation. Hi, Marlis. Valentina, nice job. This is a mean. Everyone stop working. Put your pencils down. This is a mean equation. If you're listing them like this, that's not a mean equation. A mean equation is actually setting up the equation. It's not just listing these numbers like that, and it's not just listing them in order of least to greatest with commas underneath them. I know that I was very clear with you when I said you need to write a mean equation, that this is the work that I am expecting to see. I know that I said it out loud, and I know that I was clear with you when I said this is the work thank you, that I should expect to see. So as I'm walking around looking, I should see your mean equation being written out. Not a list of the numbers in order of least to greatest with commas between them. Not them with commas between them and then divided by however many there are. You have to actually have addition symbols between what you are adding, not commas. Pencil in your hand, not a pen, ever, taking notes to me. I don't want to see this. This might be how you add them, but I need to see your equation. Okay? You always are writing in a pencil in my class unless you're correcting your work. Alright, I'm trying to walk around to help you guys because tomorrow when I look at your homework, you are being marked down. You have a pencil in your hand, you're not making marking notes in pen in my class. This is what I'm looking for, and I'm grading your work according to showing me these properly. Alright, we need to start wrapping up. Alright, you guys can finish these. The answer to these, well, I haven't done it yet. We'll do the answers tomorrow because I made this up. Alright, so we'll take a look at the answer to this tomorrow. I'll do it for you and we'll show it to you. Okay? How many of you got finished completely? Oh, okay. What did you guys get for your mean? Danny, what did you get for your mean? How many of you guys got 2.9? Awesome, we'll go with that. How about your median? What did you guys get for your median? Alex? 2.5 because there's 2 in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Awesome. You should have shown work. What are my 2 numbers in the middle, Alex? 0 and 5. So I should see 0 plus 5 divided by 2, which gives me my 2.5. I should see that work. All right. How about my mode? What was my mode here? AJ? -6. All right, you guys can check up. Oh, range. How do I find my range? Thank you. How do I find my range, Valentina? So I have 12 minus what? So I have 12 minus a -6. No, I don't. I have 12 minus -6, which means I'm going to do adding the opposite here. And I actually have 12 plus a +6, which gives me a +18. Remember, always do adding the opposite when you have subtraction, and then decide whether you need to do absolute value or not. All right, you guys cool? All right, you guys can go.